Hi everyone. Welcome back to the Barbell Baddies podcast. I am your host, NPC wellness competitor Marisa Beltran. On this podcast, we'll be talking about fitness, bodybuilding, mindset, self-belief, and all things in between. If you're a person who's interested in going to the gym, wanting to learn more about bodybuilding, wanting to create better habits to achieve your goals through self-belief and mindset, you're in the right place. How's everybody doing today? How are you physically doing? How are you mentally doing? As for myself, honestly, I'm not going to lie, I am in a lot of pain. I don't know what it is, but it was Thursday and then today that I worked out with my coach, and I don't know if I worked out so hard. I just got like a huge headache, and on Thursday that turned into a migraine, and today, luckily it didn't turn into a migraine, but it still wasn't fun. I didn't get to finish the whole workout. And then on top of that, I slept wrong. I slept like on the couch Friday and Saturday night. So Sunday and today I have been having the most horrible neck pain. And so I went to the chiropractor, and basically like this bone on my neck was rotated. It was supposed to be straight and it was like to the left. So she told me that I'm going to be sore for a few days and to ice it. But yeah, it just physically has not been a good time this week. But it's all right. At least, we're getting it fixed. And then mentally, other than I think dealing with the pain, because that still affects, at least for me mentally, other than that, I think I'm doing good. I still, it was a good week on homework. I was able to go to work. It was a good work week. My dogs are feeling better. So it was, no matter what, still a good week. But to get started with today's episode, I want to talk about things to think about if you're deciding to embark on this journey of bodybuilding. I am a huge advocate for bodybuilding just because it did change my life and impacted my life in such a positive way. But before you start, these are some things to think about before you start. So I have 3, and they are relationships, discipline, going to the gym and meal prepping, and finances. So let's talk about relationships first. If you are married or have a partner, speak about this decision with them. When you are in prep, you have to be 100% dedicated. Your relationships will not come first, and they might not even come second. What comes first is yourself. What comes first is going to the gym, getting your cardio done, practicing your posing, recovery. And recovery can be things like massages, Epsom salt baths, anything that helps your body recover. Getting ready for this competition is very consuming. So how will your partner feel if they will need to change their schedule around to help you out? Will they be okay if they have to, pick up some more things around the house? Will they be okay if, for example, you have kids and you can't pick them up because you have to be at the gym at a certain time because you're going to be at the gym longer? Will they also be okay having to change their schedule to help you out for your competition? How is your partner going to feel about going out to eat and you either have to bring a scale or you have to bring your own food? Is your significant other going to be supportive? With friends and family, will they be supportive if maybe you aren't going to every single event? Will they be supportive if you're bringing Tupperware of food and scales to restaurants or events? And I know everyone is different, but the last 3-4 weeks out from my show, when my carbs were taken out, I was not the most pleasant person to be around. Will your relationships be supportive still, even when you're cranky or certain things just upset you more or faster than usual? Will they still be supportive if maybe you just have a little less patience than usual? Like I said, everyone is different, but this is something that happened to me and that has happened to others. And lastly, on the topic of relationships, will your significant other, your family, your friends still support you when they see your physique changing? I think this is something I wish I almost prepped my family for a little bit more, just because it was a huge shock for my family to see me so thin and honestly tired all the time. And like I said, I wasn't the most pleasant person, and for others, that's what I've heard as well, that they aren't the most pleasant person as the show gets closer. But I think on the physique changing part, I wish I would have prepped my family for it a little bit more. And although they weren't necessarily trying to talk me out of doing the show, I know they didn't like seeing me so thin. But what I wish I could have told them beforehand is that I'm only going to be stage lean for a certain amount of time. Stage lean is literally being lean for stage, not forever, and definitely not as a lifestyle. I think my family and friends were really supportive in the fact that they would not put any pressure on me to have food that was not part of my meal plan. And now thinking about it, I remember 2 of my friends had baby showers in the middle of my prep. One was in the beginning, my friend Cameron, and then my other friend Natalie had her baby shower at the end of my prep. And I'm so grateful that none of them tried to push any food on me, because honestly, when you're somewhere that has food that you cannot have, and this is a new experience for everyone, there could be some food pushers. But I'm so grateful that even without having to talk to my friends about starting my competition prep, no one ever pushed food on me or made me feel bad about not eating what everyone else was eating. My family also never really pushed food on me either. There were a few times my mom would ask me if I wanted like certain foods or wanted to smell them. But again, I'm grateful that it never came to a point where I'm upset that they keep pushing food onto me, or, they make me feel bad that I'm getting so thin. And all of this is not to say you cannot have a good prep without support, because I'm sure it can be done, but having a good support system from your friends and family and your significant other makes your competition prep so much easier. Competition prep is already hard enough, so make things easy where it can be made easy for yourself. All right, number 2. Do you have good habits established? If you are someone who does not have good discipline going to the gym, and then all of a sudden you want to start a competition prep, I'm not sure you should be going through a competition prep. As I mentioned before, going through prep needs your full attention and dedication. So if you're trying to establish new habits while going through a prep, I don't know. I don't know if it can be done. Like, I'm sure there are some outliers that can do it and can be thrown into the wolves and be successful, but I'm guessing for the majority of people, it will not be a good prep. It's almost a prep before the prep. Make sure you have a habit of going to the gym even when you're not motivated. If you want to be a champion, if you want to give it your all, you do need to have that all or nothing mindset, that no matter what, your cardio gets done, no matter what, your workouts get done, no matter what, your posing gets done, no matter what, your recovery gets done. I actually have the perfect story for this, and well, actually it's 2, and they're kind of similar. But so I was about 6 weeks out from my show, and I'm driving to the gym around 8 p.m. and my car in the middle of the street just turns off. I kind of freak out, but I kind of don't, just because my car has had a history of issues due to its high mileage and age. But I'm like, what the F? I turn it on and I pull into the parking lot. And as I park, my car turns off by itself again. I try to turn on my car, and this time it does not turn on. I give it a few minutes and I try to turn it on again, and it doesn't turn on. At that moment, I did not have to do my cardio or workout, because how am I even able to get home? Or how am I going to get to work the next day? Like, these are all things that usually would be more of a priority than going to the gym. But guess what? My car at that moment was not a priority. I knew that I needed to get my cardio and workout done, then we would worry about my car. And I think it's so funny because thinking about that now, and if that happened to me now that I'm in my improvement season, I'd be like, what the F? We need to figure out this car situation first. And working out can be done later, or maybe my cardio can be done later in this week. But when you are in a competition prep, every cardio session matters. Every workout matters. And, as I mentioned, like maybe you can push out your cardio through the week or later in the week. But at that time, my cardio was an hour and a half. And like, how am I going to split that? How am I going to try to add that on top of my already hour and a half daily cardio? So like I said, every cardio, every workout matters. And this next story I heard on a podcast, and it's one of my favorites to tell. So this girl is going to the gym at 6 a.m. to start her first half of cardio, because she's in prep and sometimes your cardio is high and you have to split it, and we'll be going to the gym twice a day. So she's driving to the gym at 6 a.m. and gets T-boned by a car, and her car gets totaled. She calls her boyfriend and asks if he can pick her up and take her to the gym because she needs to get her first half of cardio done. And the thing is, she had every reason to not go to the gym. Her car literally got totaled. And instead of asking her boyfriend to pick her up to go home and, I don't know, maybe call the insurance company, she calls her boyfriend to take her to the gym. So I know that, and thinking about it now, like this sounds crazy, but even if you have every reason to not go to the gym, you still have to go to the gym. And doing that is so much easier when you already have a habit of going to the gym, even when you don't feel like going. Now, the next habit that I think should be established is meal prepping. I kind of already spoke about this in episode 3, and I mentioned how I did stick to my meal plan 100% when prep started, but prior, it was not 100%. I still generally followed the meal plan she gave me before prep started, but I think something that I struggled with was that identity shift that we spoke about in episode 3. But I think that comes with experience and slowly showing yourself that this is who we are now. We are meal preppers. We stick to a meal plan. I do think that if I were to already have had that identity of being a meal prepper, or I just already had that strong habit of meal prepping, the first couple weeks of my competition prep would have been a little easier just because I would already have that routine going, but that doesn't mean it can't be done. But take my advice and have that meal prep routine and identity already established so it can be a smooth transition into your competition prep. I cannot emphasize enough that at a certain point, competition prep can get really difficult. So make things easy for yourself where it can be made easy. Also, small trigger warning. And I don't want to get into it too much just because I'm not an expert and can only share my experience. But something that I have heard just from podcasters and other competitors is that you should not start a competition prep if you have a bad relationship with food. And I was a person that did not have a good relationship with food. I always looked at food as the enemy. So I was a little nervous when starting, but honestly, being on a competition prep helped me look at food so differently. It helped me look at food actually more positively. I understood more what carbs are for, how your body uses fats, I learned how important protein is, and sometimes even the order you eat your carbs, fats, and proteins, sugars is important too. I heard that you should eat your vegetables first because it has a good source of fiber, then your protein, and then your carbs. It is harder for your stomach to digest carbs first, especially when it's the first thing you eat in the morning. But like in general, I just learned that food is fuel, and I now appreciate which foods nourish my body versus which foods might taste amazing but are not so nourishing for my body. Now, number 3, finances. Bodybuilding is an expensive sport. That is one of the first things my coach emphasized as soon as I told her I wanted to do a bodybuilding show. I think this is different. No, I shouldn't say I think. I know this is different for men and women, and we'll get into that on the finance part. And for full transparency, we'll just use like how much I spent as an example to share with everyone. So first, we have coaching. That's about $320 a month. Then a gym membership, and that's about $20 a month. Next, we have food. And, since I had to stick to a meal plan, I was going to the grocery store twice a week because I can't substitute certain things for others. There are things you can, but every food on that meal plan serves a purpose. And if I'm missing something, then I'm missing a food group that my body needs. So let's say, for example, I'm running out of almond butter. Almond butter is an essential fat. You need good fats for your body. And so when I'm on such a strict diet and I don't have that fat that my body needs, like that's not a good thing. Like I need that. Our body needs that. So I would say I was spending close to $200 a week. Next, we have the bikini. And you can find like a gently used bikini or rent one that's way cheaper. But I wanted one that was customized just because that's how I am, and I saved for it. But mine was about $600. And next we have heels, because you do have to get a certain heel. Like they have to be, I think everybody from what I know goes to this place called the Shoe Fairy, and they're like these clear heels, or sometimes they have diamonds, but you can't go up there with like black heels that you like wear to the club. Like, no, we got to get it from the Shoe Fairy. And those are about $60. Well, and actually I take that back. You don't have to get it from the Shoe Fairy. You can find like clear heels from Amazon that are cheaper. But like I said, like this is something that I saved for. So I'm going to go get the ones, that every other bodybuilder gets. So next we have jewelry, and that was another $60, which included a ring, 2 bracelets, and big earrings. And you can also find this on Amazon that will be cheaper. But I think, for myself, like it's also about quality. This is something that I'll be using for the next couple shows. So I'm just going to invest in the ones that are a little bit more expensive. Next, we have the tan. And the tan, you get one before the show, which is like literally like the day before the show. And you get one the day of, and you also get like oiled up and kind of like they fix you up throughout your show as well. And I tried to like log on to my account to see how much I spent, and I couldn't find exactly, but it was about $100 or so. And there are like do-it-yourself home kits that you can do for yourself, like on yourself, but those tans are super deep, and I recommend for your first show you get it professionally done, because you don't want to be up there looking different when everyone else has a deep tan. And I think another thing is when you're on stage, you're already being compared. So you don't want to you just don't want to look different in the sense of that tan. Then you have your hair and makeup, which is about another $150. And, with bodybuilding makeup, it is different from, of course, everyday makeup. And of course, it's different than pageant makeup. And since you also have a tan, your shade will be different. And if you've never done a bodybuilding show before, you will not know what shade will be best for your face. So I highly recommend having the makeup artist that the show provide to do your makeup. I do think with your hair, you can do your own, which is something I'm going to do for the next show. But for my first show, one, I wanted the experience of like someone doing my hair, just because I was exhausted from prep. And like as an example, My hair and makeup appointment was at 4:45 in the morning. So I was also exhausted from like having to get up so early, and not having to worry about doing my hair was really nice. Then we have registration for the show. And before you can even register for the show, you have to purchase an NPC card from the National Physique Committee that lasts for that year. So as an example, I bought my NPC card in November of 2023, and it's only good for that year of 2023. So it doesn't last, a whole year from when you buy it. So for me, it wouldn't last, for November 2024. So this year when I compete, I'm going to have to buy another one. And that NPC card was $150. And then when you're registering for the show, you can register to compete in multiple tiers, I think is the best way to explain it. So there's true novice for people who have never competed before or have never competed in that division. Then there's novice, which is for people who never won their class or show. Then there's open, which is open to all competitors, no matter how many years of bodybuilding you have done. Of course, like this is not going to be for the pros. The pros have their own league. These will only be for people that do not have their pro cards. And I know each show will be different, but for myself, for my show, it was about $160 to enter each division. And I competed in each one because I wanted as much time on stage. And two, I worked so hard, so let me get all the stage time I can get and to practice that posing. Then we have the hotel, because my show is about 2 hours away from where I live. So of course I can't just drive back and forth. So I highly recommend booking a hotel room where the show is being hosted or near where the show is being hosted. And that was about $300. So to add all this up, and we'll just round it, let's see. So it would be about $14,000 for a year of coaching, the gym, and groceries. Then just for like what is needed for show day was about $1,900 if I calculated everything correctly. And with men, that number will be different because they don't have to worry about a bikini, depending on the division, they just have to worry about one clothing item, or, they don't have to worry about hair or makeup, but everything else like the NPC card and tanning will still apply to them. And what's nice is that for my next bodybuilding show, I won't have to worry about bikini, heels, or jewelry because I already have it. So that helps a lot. But as a first timer, it definitely was a big expense. And I know my dad is my biggest supporter of my podcast, and he's probably listening to this shaking his head. But the thing is I saved for this. This is an investment. I saved up for all these investments because I know that I want to do this for a while. So please, please, please do not go into debt for bodybuilding. At the end of the day, this is just a really expensive hobby, so don't pull out loans for it. Just save and budget where you can if this is something you really want to do. So if you're thinking about competing in a bodybuilding show, think about how it will affect your relationships. Do you have good habits set in place? And think about if this is something you can afford or save up for. To conclude today's episode, let's share some gratitude. Let me know in the Q&A box, email me, or DM me 3 things you're grateful for today. So as for myself, for today, honestly, I am so grateful that the ibuprofen I took before I started recording is working and my neck pain and my headache is going away. Number 2, I am grateful that I can afford to go to the chiropractor, that I can afford to do things that help me recover and help me make me feel better. And number 3, I would say, honestly, I'm going to say I am grateful for my partner. Like today, I was just in so much pain and probably not the most pleasant person to be around because when you're in pain, like you're just not necessarily happy. And he just helped me out a lot and was really patient with me. So I would say I'm really grateful for him. But I hope you all have a wonderful week. I'm not going to lie, like I have days, everyone has days where you're just in what is it, a runt, or you're just not doing good mentally. And that was something that happened to me today. But every time I come on to record, it just makes me feel so much better. And honestly, life can be so confusing, but I know that when it comes to podcasting and fitness, that's never confusing. It feels so clear to me that this is something that I love. So I just love being here with all of you, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. And as always, I can't wait to chat again next Monday. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. This podcast was inspired from my obsession with anime and bodybuilding, so I wanted to create and find a community of like-minded individuals. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and a 5-star rating. Higher ratings and positive reviews can lead to increased visibility, making it easier for new listeners to discover this podcast. You can also follow the socials in the podcast description notes and DM me, email me with any questions, episode topics, or feedback.